Today I am going to be transforming a few thrifted items that I have around my home. Hey there, my name is Yami. I am your Latina next door. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I love sharing high-end home decor and DIYs on a budget. And I'm currently fixing up my home along with my husband, the Latino engineer, and we are bringing you guys along for the ride. You've probably noticed that I'm sitting in my brand new sitting area in my master bedroom that my husband and I just redid. If you haven't seen that video, I'll make sure to link it in the description box below so that you can check it out. I went thrifting earlier this year and I've been able to remake a lot of the items that I had purchased. However, there were still a few left and others you haven't seen yet. If you enjoy videos like this, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe so that you too can become part of the familia. Before we get started, I have a very important announcement about the Look for Less challenge at the end of this video. I am bringing it back this month, so make sure you stick to the end and get all of the details of the Look for Less challenge and when your videos are due. Okay, let's get started. So for this first thrifted makeover, we're going to be using these candelabras that I found at my local Goodwill for only $2.99 a piece. As you can see, they weren't in bad condition. They were just pretty dirty with quite a bit of wax from the previous owner's usage. So all I needed to do was clean off all of the wax. Once all of it was removed, I took it outside, put it in my spray tent, and began spray painting it with like an antique gold spray paint. The dark color wasn't really part of my color scheme, so I wanted something a little bit more high-end and updated, but also classic, and I think the antique gold does that. Not only can I use it for everyday like decorations, but these are really beautiful to use during Christmas time and even special occasions. Now the best way to spray paint something like this is to use really small spurts, as you see here, and give this several light coats. I think I did this about 4 or 5 times, to be honest with you. And honestly, it looked like it was originally this color. And that's pretty much it for this DIY. I know it was very simple. However, changing the color gave it a very drastic change, and I think it just made them look so much higher end. Okay, for this next DIY, this is going to be another simple one, but it's this bird cage that I bought for $1.99 at Goodwill. Now, it was pretty disgusting. Actually, I had this packed in my stuff from like when we moved, and I had just unboxed this not that long ago, and I remembered that I had this bird caged in there, so I decided to go ahead and transform it. It was pretty sticky and dirty. It was so grimy, you guys. I took it to the sink and sprayed it down with Dollar Tree's Totally Awesome degreaser, and look at the stuff that was just coming off of it. It was pretty bad. I did scrub everything off and dry it off, and then I took this to my tent and spray painted it white. This took several coats as well, and when you're doing something like this, you want to make sure that you flip everything upside down and get all of the metal on the inside as well as the outside, and just in all of those little nooks where the metal connects with the other pieces of metal. Now that is it for this DIY, and I know it's super simple, but I think the white classic bird cage is just so sweet. Add a plant across, add some candles inside, some florals, even some succulents, and I think you have a beautiful place to display something so nicely on top of your furniture. Now for this next DIY, we're going to be using this urn. Now this urn was actually $4.99, and I got it at that Salvation Army. You know the one I'm talking about, the one that I created 7 DIYs from. And I did find that lucky $100 bill inside. If you haven't seen the video, definitely check it out. I'll leave it in the description box below. Like everything else, this needed a good cleaning, and I just used my spray bottle that has half of alcohol or rubbing alcohol and half of water, and I just spray it on and just wipe everything clean. Now I wanted this to look old, and I also wanted it to lighten the color of the urn. Now the first thing I did was take the color Milk Jug. This is a chalk paint, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give it one coat over everything, including the top rim and the inside of the urn. Now this is kind of like a milky cream color, but as it dried, I noticed that the green from the urn was penetrating through, and it gave it a nice kind of cool aged look. Now, the next thing I did was take that same paint and add some baking soda to it until it was pretty thick. I wanted to get quite a bit of texture on this because I wanted it to look really old. I began to apply the chalk paint and baking soda mixture, making sure that I covered all of the surface of the urn. And if you look closely, you can see all of that really nice texture from the baking soda on the surface. And it's just going to give it this look that it's really old. It's been sitting outside. It's just aged. And I was excited to try this because this was actually my very first time trying out this technique. Now you just want to make sure you get every single part of the urn and make sure it dries completely before you do this for a third time. Now for the third application, I did the same thing with the baking soda, but this time I used a really light green. This is the same green that I used for those really cool candle holders that I made over at the beginning of the year that you guys really liked. Now I decided to go ahead and do this because I noticed that the green was kind of penetrating through the chalk paint. And this time around, when I applied this part of the textured paint, I didn't go everywhere with it. I didn't make sure that it was completely covering everything because I wanted the lighter color to shine through underneath. Now once that layer was dry, I came in with some gold paint, and I wanted to add a nice little bit of gold throughout different little areas of the urn, not everywhere. So I decided to take it to the rim at the very top, add some on the handles, and I wasn't making it perfect. Again, I wanted this to look really old and aged, and like some of it had rubbed off over time. So I just added it around like little areas that I think it would, naturally have it, and on the bottom rim, and I would just swoop it upwards to the rest of the area as you see here. I was not going for perfection. And if you ever try anything like this, definitely play around with it and see how much you want. If you add too much, you can always take or repaint. But I love how this ended up turning out. The softness of the green and the light cream color, as well as that light gold. And then just the fact that it's not perfect and it looks completely aged. I love it. I think it looks absolutely beautiful. Okay, so for this last one, we are going to be tackling this beauty. This picture was bought by my mom at a local thrift store, and it only cost her $3.93. Now, she had plans to do something with it and paint it and just kind of freshen it up a little bit, but then she kind of gave up and handed it to me. So I decided that I was going to just make it over completely. So after I wiped everything down, making sure that it was nice and clean, I took some of my Rust-Oleum chalk paint. This is the same chalk paint that I used when I painted the mortar in my faux brick wall in my master bedroom. I'm going to have a ton left over still after this, but I decided I needed to go ahead and start using it. So I went ahead and painted the canvas portion of the print. I painted the first time with horizontal strokes and the second time with vertical strokes to give it a little bit of that canvas texture. And then I literally took out my Folk Art acrylic stash of paints. And I don't know what's been going on with me lately, but I feel the need to paint and to get better at it. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this painting could probably be a lot better, but I've been fascinated with landscapes and horizons, and I just thought, you know, I just need to sit down and start messing with a canvas and start painting. So I just basically used whatever I had on hand, which is probably another reason why maybe the paints are a little bit bright, because I didn't have anything that was really subdued. I started with the sky and then I came down because I wanted something that would look like the ocean. So I hope that by the end of this, you guys will notice and actually see the ocean. I just began working my way down, trying to Bob Ross this because, yeah, blending it all in and trying to highlight some areas and give it a little bit of depth. So I really wish I could tell you what it is that you need to do in order to paint something like this, but honestly, I'm as clueless as you are. However, I've been reading a book lately, and I read this part in the book where it talked about confidence and how people usually wait to have confidence to do something. But you can't really have confidence until you do something and know that you can do it. So how can you have confidence to do something new if you've never tried it before? So all we need to do is have courage, have enough courage to go ahead and step forward and take on that brave step and just try something new. No confidence, nothing, because honestly, you just don't know. So you just have to do. And that's what I've just been doing lately. And this is what I basically did in this painting. Again, I'm not a professional. I am sure there are people out there right now saying how terrible of a job I'm doing. But again, I stepped out of my comfort zone and I said, what the heck? Why not try something a little different and just put myself out there and just pony up the courage to do a painting like this. By the way, I redid areas of this painting over and over again. You will see that the end result will not even have the same color of water as the one that you see right here. But it's because I just kept fiddling with it. And you know what's so funny is my husband saw me doing this and he said, hey, why don't we get you an easel so that you can start painting? And I thought that was so nice of him, because honestly, I was just fiddling. But maybe if I do get that easel and I start just doing more little things like this, I'll continue getting better and better. And maybe even I'll check out some classes online and see if I can learn a few more things in order to make my paintings a little bit nicer so that I can start filling my home with my very own artwork. And I know that this part of the video I was a little bit more chatty than usual, but I hope you enjoyed seeing the progression and the different stages of this painting as I kept trying to fiddle with it in order to make it look a little bit better. And I hope that it also inspired you to try something even though you might not have the confidence to do something new that perhaps you've been putting off or hesitant to try. So after I was done nitpicking and fiddling with the painting, I decided to retouch the gold thin portion of the frame, and then after that I gave the white part of the frame a fresh new coat of paint. And even though it's not the best painting, I definitely added my initials to the bottom corner and then I hung it up in my master bedroom. Well, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below which one of these DIYs was your favorite. I am going to go over the rules and the date of when your videos are due for this month, and I'm going to share some tips with you guys. Generally, we will have 2 weeks to complete this challenge. Because I'm actually sharing this with you guys on a Friday, we have a little less than 2 weeks. We actually have 12 days. So your projects are due on Wednesday, May 19th at 10 a.m. That's Wednesday, May 19th at 10 a.m. So that's the first rule. So rule number 2. Please make sure to mention your host. That's me, Yami, the Latina next door. If you would please share my channel link in your description box, as well as the playlist link of all of the Look for Less challenge videos. I'll have that playlist up that morning. You can upload your video so that everybody who's joined the challenge can see your projects. Rule number 3. Your item has to be a home decor piece. It could be small like a napkin ring or as large as a piece of furniture. That one is up to you. You can find inspiration online, in a store, or in a catalog. Rule number 4. We want to see your inspiration piece and the original price alongside yours with what it took to recreate it, because we want to see how well you did and how much you saved. I'm also going to include a new rule number 5, and that is going to be to use a hashtag #LookForLessChallenge so we can find your videos better. I encourage everybody who watches my channel, as well as those who join in on the playlist, to look at the playlist and find some videos that they can see and gather inspiration from. Now, obviously, it's not possible for everyone to see every single video. So in order to stand out and really get people to notice your video, make sure you have a nice, bright, clean picture of the original piece, as well as your recreated piece on your thumbnail. This way, people browsing through the playlist can get an immediate idea of what your video is about and what you're going to be recreating for them. The goal is to try to make your piece as closely as possible to the original, so much so that you encourage other people to do the same thing. Make sure your instructions are concise and really easy to follow for those who wish to do the same thing. Also, make sure it's something that you're really excited about recreating, because it'll make the project so much more fun to make and so much more inspirational to the viewers. Also, you can incorporate the Look for Less challenge in your title. However, make sure that your very first part of your title is exactly what you created, whether it's a Pottery Barn DIY mirror or a Pottery Barn vase dupe. Make sure that's your primary title in the beginning so that your video can be found over time and everybody knows exactly what it is that you're making for the video. I hope you guys are as excited as I am for the Look for Less challenge return. I cannot wait to see what you guys create. You always blow me away with all of your creativity. Don't forget, your videos are due on May 19th at 10 a.m. I will see you guys next week for another home decor and DIY video. Until then, adios!